Welcome back to Scouting Movies, everyone. We're talking about a cult classic today, made by, well, it's on Disney Plus now. I don't know if it was technically made by Disney or not back then. It's called Willow, and probably a lot of you have seen it because it is a cult classic and it was a pretty strong um, blockbuster movie back then. So we'll talk a lot about what Willow is. Let's set the scene first to get the rundown of what the synopsis is. It's set in a mythical world full of trolls, sorcerers, and the occasional three-headed dragon thing. Uh, our hero is Willow Ufgood, a humble farmer with dreams of becoming a sorcerer. One day, a baby literally floats into his life down the river, destined to overthrow the evil Queen Bavmorda. And so Willow is tasked with returning the baby to uh, her her people. Along the way, he teams up with a sellsword, I guess you could call him if you're Game of Thrones. Anyway, his name is Madmartigan. He's a roguish warrior played by Val Kilmer, R.I.P. Val Kilmer. Uh, he just passed away maybe a week ago, a couple weeks ago, maybe. So R.I.P. to him and condolences to family. But he sets off to, or they now set off to protect the child and fulfill the prophecy, maybe save the world in the process. Classic stuff. On paper, it sounds like an easy win, but let's talk about what happens when paper meets the screen. um, I don't know if I'm going to make anyone mad because I'm going to destroy their cult classic dreams. But Willow is not a great movie, uh, honestly. Its biggest struggle is that it never really figures out what it wants to be. I mean, one moment we're dealing with death and dark magic and baby sacrifices, and the next moment we're watching brownies get drunk and fall into soup. Uh, that's not to say that fantasy can't have humor. The Lord of the Rings has jokes in it that are funny. The Princess Bride, which is a comedy, has a lot of good action scenes. I mean, it's possible to get a lot of good stuff in from each genre into a movie. The problem is Willow doesn't do it. It's like the comedy and the act and the fantasy action are two things that are constantly trying to undercut each other. Um, I think there's a subplot, for example, uh, where Val Kilmer's character encounters a love potion, which would make him fall in love with the um, next thing that he sees, and uh, in that case, it ends up being Joanne Wally's character played. Her name is Sorsha in the film. Um, Love potions and fantasy epics probably don't happen all that often, especially ones that are really silly, really comedic. Um, and that's the case with this one. And I also think it could have leaned harder into the comedy portion if it wanted to do that. I would say pick a side. Either choose to be a funny comedy fantasy or choose to be epic fantasy, but you can't hold out hope trying to be both at the same time. You can have a fantasy comedy and put in action scenes, or you can be an action fantasy epic and throw in some comedy jokes. But you can't really try to do both at the same time. There are very few. There are some movies that work in that, but there's very few that actually work. And I would say if you want to be really comedic and throw in a joke there, have him fall in love with Willow. I mean that would be funny. The next person he sees is technically Willow, but I guess the love potion is homophobic or something, and so because the next person, it's the next female that he sees. Technically, the next person he sees is Willow, and so that should have been what they done there. That was really funny. So let's talk about Sorsha for a minute, played by Joanne Wally. She's obviously Queen Bavmorda's daughter in the movie. She's this fierce warrior, completely loyal to her terrifying mother. Then she has a couple of awkward run-ins, including a love potion that I just mentioned with Madmartigan, and suddenly she just switches sides, and that's it. There's no real arc, no real soul searching. There's just, hey, I met a cute guy, and now I'm good. I'm no longer evil. I wish that it was more earned than that. It feels completely unearned, like someone flipped a switch behind the screen because the plot needed her to change. Uh, that's kind of a lot of how Willow works as well. Things happen because the script says so, not because the characters make them happen or it makes sense for the characters to do X, Y, and Z. It's just driven by plot, um, and it doesn't feel completely right there. Warwick Davis as Willow, he does a solid job with what he's given. He's likable, he's brave in his own awkward way. He's easy to root for, but the story doesn't let him earn his victories. A lot of what goes right for him is down to pure luck. Uh, he doesn't grow into a great sorcerer. He just kind of stumbles into it through situations until things work out. Uh, Obviously, I'm not going to spoil the ending, but it's a similar situation there. He's able to think and be a little bit more cunning than he was maybe in other parts of the movie, but it still comes down to pure dumb luck. Compare that to actual changes where that you see in other hero journeys where the character actually changes and has to overcome enormous odds with his skill or something like that. You see what's kind of missing in this movie. There's no real arc. There's just a lot of running from one scene to the next. Val Kilmer, he's the best character in the film. He's the best actor in the film. It looks like he's having a blast. Madmartigan is charming. He's loud. He's easily the most watchable thing in the movie, and he's good with the sword. Especially back at this time where you couldn't really play a ton with sword choreography, which wasn't as big of a thing back then. Uh, you see, like Warwick Davis as Willow tried to use it, and it's sad almost. It's pathetic, and a lot of the characters are like that. Val Kilmer's really good with it. He looks like the sword is just an extension of his arm. He's really good with it. Uh, you can tell he's trying to give the movie some much needed energy. Even his best moments, though, get undercut by the film's tendency to play things safe. Um, and I mentioned the love potion thing, but I think it would have been funnier and with endless more possibilities if he would have fallen in love with Willow at that point. Let the chemistry and the romance come organically, not through a love potion, because that's what it does. You get the love potion, and then oh my goodness, as Sorsha, you see Val Kilmer and you fall in love with him because he's in love with you, and just let it come more organically than that. Either cut the whole thing entirely if you want to make an epic fantasy, or lean into it harder if you want to make it. Anyway, I've talked about the love potion enough, but it could have been hilarious or unpredictable. It could have been really epic. It plays it right down the middle, trying to hit both lanes as much as possible, and uh, it's like bowling for a spare when you have a 7-10 split, and it goes right down the middle and doesn't hit anything. So it stops itself from being as bold as it could be. So let's give a little credit where it's due. The production values are pretty genuinely impressive for the time, especially the practical effects, the creatures. I mentioned a 2 or 3 headed dragon, the makeup. This world looks great. You feel the fantasy, you feel the scale, and the sound design is really good. It immerses you into this world, and so the production values are actually pretty good, especially for its time, even when the story stumbles. There's craft on display here. If nothing else, Willow knows how to look like a classic. It just doesn't do it. Uh, Also, talking about the screenplay, it clearly pulls from mythological and biblical influences. There's a clear Moses vibe here when you get a baby sent down the river to avoid sacrifice by the queen. I mean, obviously that sounds a ton like Moses' story. A reluctant prophet in Willow is, I mean, he's not a prophet in the movie, but you get it. It doesn't do much with those ideas beyond referencing them. It's like using these long-awaited ideas as, or long ago ideas as kind of your jumping off point, but then you don't come back to it. You don't build off of that world. It wants to feel profound. You can tell it really wants to, but it doesn't ever earn that weight. So, in terms of Willow, my final thoughts here, it's kind of a missed opportunity. It's a bit of a puzzle. It has the heart of a fantasy epic. It has some of the great production values that would say you're looking at a great film here, but it has the tone of a Saturday morning cartoon, the ambition of a genre-defining classic, but it doesn't commit to either of them, and so it ends up being neither. It's entertaining, sure. There are moments of genuine magic, but there's also a constant sense of this could have been a lot more than what we see on the screen here. If it had leaned harder into either the comedy or gone full tilt with the epic fantasy, it might have carved out a clearer identity. Instead, it gets stuck right in that nowhere land. Um, so my grade for Willow is C minus. I was trying to convince myself that I could give it an average, right down the middle C, but I got to say that there's a lot of missed opportunities with the budget that this movie had, with the creators on board, George Lucas and Ron Howard, and it just misses a lot of the marks that it should have hit. So I'm giving it a C minus. So, did I just offend you down to your core because I have ripped apart a cult classic? Let me know where I'm wrong here. Let me know what you think about it. If you want to rebut my arguments here, let me know if you agree with me. If I've said something that sparked your yes, that's exactly what I've been trying to say about why this movie isn't that good. Let me know and join me for other movies as I dive deep into them. Thanks, everyone.